Good day and God bless you, and welcome to the Bible reading in chronological order. It's just such a privilege to have you join us today and partake in this venture to complete the Bible in a year. I pray that the Lord would bless each of you as you take time to go through His Word, and I pray that the Lord would just have His hand over us as we go through His Word and try to study His Word and just to know Him more. Today we're busy in two books again, the second book of Samuel and the first book of the Chronicles. And we're going to be focusing on 2 Samuel chapter 8, 2 Samuel chapter 9, and 1 Chronicles chapter 18. So let's get straight into it. When we look at 2 Samuel 8 and 1 Chronicles 18, these two are parallel passages, so both speaking about the same event. So I'm going to deal with it as one, as we've been doing in the overviews thus far. We see that in this passage, David subdues the Philistines and makes the Moabites servants of Israel. And then we see that the Moabites then bring him treasures. Then he smites Hadadezer as well as the Syrians, and all of these that served him, they brought gifts and presented it to David. And then we see how Toi comes to David and brings him gifts as well. So we see that there's a lot of wealth that was obtained at this point, and the wealth that David obtained from the lands, he dedicated it unto the Lord. And that's just the heart of David. We see it so many times. And then we see that the passage goes on to say that David reigned justly over all the land of Israel. Now that's a beautiful thing. We see the heart of David come through there, that he just wants to offer everything to the Lord. He wants to give the Lord of his entirety, of his best, of everything that he has. He wants to give the Lord. And that's what made David such a profound character within the Word. Yes, he made mistakes, and too often we focus on David's mistakes. Yes, he was a man like unto us. He had like passions and all of this. But when you look at the heart of David, David was ready to give up everything to honor the Lord. I think that's more what we should be focusing on than his mistakes. When we look at the heart of David, when Saul was chasing him, when Saul wanted to kill him, he would not touch the anointed of the Lord, not for Saul's sake, but for the sake that the Lord had anointed Saul. He honored the Lord so much that he wouldn't even touch Saul there when he had the chance to kill him. That's the man David. A man that trusted the Lord so much to know that even the giant couldn't touch him because he was going to be king in Israel one day. Even Saul couldn't kill him because he was going to be king in Israel one day. That's what the Lord promised him. And he had confidence in the promise of the Lord. Anyway, then we get to 2 Samuel chapter 9. A very interesting passage this. We see that David seeks out any person left from the house of Saul, which he wanted to show kindness to for the sake of Jonathan, his covenant brother. This is so amazing. David just neglected all of the hurt that the house of Saul had bestowed on him. We see even from Saul that despised him, even to Michal, his wife, who despised him. And yet, he wanted to show the house of Saul kindness. And so, in all of this, we see that heart of David, and yet there is something so strange about David that we need to know, which in modern times wouldn't seem that nice, or it would seem really crude in modern times. But David hated the lame and the blind. That's what the Bible says. It says the lame and the blind were hated of David's soul. Now, when we're looking at it, we can see that the Lord did not allow the people with blemishes, the lame, the blind. It even says the flat-nosed. The Lord didn't allow them to be priests. But actually, David disliked them altogether. But for the sake of Jonathan, David takes in Mephibosheth as his own son and commands that he eat at the king's table from then on. Now, Mephibosheth was the son of Jonathan. He was lame because he was dropped as a child by the nurse. And so we could see this, and we see how Mephibosheth comes and falls down before David. He was so fearful. He knew that his family had a history with David. He knew that he, being lame, was hated of David's soul. He didn't see any redemption in there. And yet, for the sake of Jonathan, his father, David took him in and made him eat at the king's table from then on. Mephibosheth didn't realize the respect that David had for the house of Saul. because Saul was anointed of God. And in this, David shows then that honor that he has for the Lord in giving this honor to Mephibosheth, in establishing his house, in giving him all of these things. And that's why this passage is so beautiful. We might look at it and think, wow, David had some flaws. Yes, he was a human being, he had some flaws. But when you look at his heart for the things of God, it is unparalleled, really. And that's a man after God's own heart. I'm going to leave it there for today. I pray that the Lord would bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May he give you peace. God bless you as you enjoy the reading of the word today.
Chapter 8. And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Methegama out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab, and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured he to put to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servants, and brought gifts. David smote also Hadadezer the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his border at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 700 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. And David hocked all the chariot horses, but reserved of them for 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadadezer king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David, and brought gifts. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer, and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Betah, and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took exceeding much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him, and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and smitten him. For Hadadezer had wars with Toi. And Joram brought with him vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and vessels of brass, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord, with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued, of Syria, and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name, when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David reigned over all Israel. And David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilot was recorder, and Zadok the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests, and Sariah was the scribe, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over both the Kerethites and the Pelethites. And David's sons were chief rulers. Chapter 9. And David said, Is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they had called him unto David, the king said unto him, Art thou Ziba? And he said, Thy servant is he. And the king said, Is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet. And the king said unto him, Where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he is in the house of Machir the son of Ammiel, in Lodebar. Then King David sent, and fetched him out of the house of Machir the son of Ammiel from Lodebar. Now when Mephibosheth the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face, and did reverence. And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, Behold thy servant. And David said unto him, Fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness, for Jonathan thy father's sake. And I will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. And he bowed himself and said, What is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? Then the king called to Ziba Saul's servant, and said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertained to Saul and to all his house. Thou therefore, and thy sons, and thy servants, shall till the land for him, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth thy master's son shall eat bread alway at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then said Ziba unto the king, According to all that my lord the king hath commanded his servant, so shall thy servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table as one of the king's sons. And Mephibosheth had a young son, whose name was Micah. And all that dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants unto Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he did eat continually at the king's table, and was lame on both his feet. Chapter 18. Now after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them, and took Gath and her towns out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab, and the Moabites became David's servants, and brought gifts. And David smote Hadarezer king of Zobah unto Hamath, as he went to establish his dominion by the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 7,000 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. David also hocked all the chariot horses, but reserved of them 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadarezer king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants and brought gifts. Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadarezer, and brought them to Jerusalem. Likewise from Tibhath and from Cun, cities of Hadarezer, brought David very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea, and the pillars, and the vessels of brass. Now when Tohu king of Hamath heard how David had smitten all the host of Hadarezer king of Zobah, he sent Hadoram his son to King David, to inquire of his welfare, and to congratulate him, because he had fought against Hadarezer and smitten him. For Hadarezer had war with Tohu, and with him all manner of vessels of gold and silver and brass. Them also King David dedicated unto the Lord with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom, and from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. Moreover, Abishai the son of Zeruiah slew of the Edomites in the valley of Salt 18,000, and he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants. Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. So David reigned over all Israel, and executed judgment and justice among all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud recorder. And Zadok the son of Ahitub, and Abimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests, and Shavsha was scribe. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Kerethites and the Pelethites. And the sons of David were chief about the king.